6th grade, lesson 2.10, problem solving and fraction operations. Yay, word problems! Woo, your favorite! Actually, you're probably feeling like they're less daunting than they used to be because you're probably feeling better at it. And as you get better at these, your brain is going to start seeing these as more like a puzzle or a game rather than work. So, or at least I hope so. I like to see it that way. So it's a frame of mind thing, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so this one is a lot of practicing those fraction operations that we've been working on, and in the form of word problems. So we'll be adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and some of these word problems are super puzzles because there's a couple of math calculation steps involved with them, because problems generally aren't solved in real life. Problems aren't generally solved just by one calculation. So we're going to take a look at them. I want to remind you of the steps for handling word problems. It really, really, really helps me, so I hope it really, really helps you too. So let's go over the steps on how we tackle these word problems. First step, I know I shouldn't have to put it there, but you'd be shocked. Read it. I have a lot of people will come to me and say, "Oh, Ms. Sanchez, I need help." Okay, let's look at the problem. Okay, did you read it yet? No, I haven't even read it yet. Well, you got to read it first, so read it. Step 1, read it. Step 2, underline the question. And on the read it step, by the way, sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 reads, and then I go and underline the question so I know what it's asking me. And sometimes I'm still unclear on this step, what needs to be done. And then step 3, I go and I circle the information they gave me, and still sometimes on some problems I'm unclear on what needs to be done. Step 4, I draw it. This usually is the one that clears things up for me on the most complex problems. I draw the situation, I draw what's going on. And then finally, I kind of have direction after this one of what needs to be done, and I calculate it. So use these steps. They really help me, because sometimes I run into word problems that I'm not sure. And I use these steps. I really, really do. Use these steps, they'll help you. And then I also want to brush off cobwebs on adding and subtracting fractions. The steps are get a common denominator, find what a common denominator would be, and then adjust the numerators and denominators, keeping those fractions equivalent. We do the same thing to the bottom as we do to the top, same thing to the denominator as we did to the numerator, or same thing to the numerator as we did to the denominator, however you want to word it. We have to keep them equivalent. And then we add or subtract the numerator depending on what the situation requires, and then we convert and reduce the answer at the end. For multiplication and division of fractions, step 1, change to a fraction. Step 2 for division is to keep change flip so that we can make it multiplication. And then from there, your steps are the same: cross, reduce, multiply straight across, convert, reduce. I'm going to need to move on to another slide, so these steps will disappear. But the first page of your notes that I wrote for you guys has those steps. First and second page actually has those steps right there, so print them off. Those of you who aren't in one of my classes and are viewing the videos now, I found out that there's people viewing. I'm looking for a way I can post all the links to my notes as well as the easy links to the videos. So I'll see if I can figure that out so that you have access to my notes as well. So the first problem in the lesson on page 89, it says Sam had 3/4 pound of granola. Each day he took 1/8 pound to school for a snack. If he had 1/4 of a pound left over, how many days did Sam take granola to school? And I might read that a second time if I needed to. And then I'm going to go to step 2 and underline the information that they need me to. I guess I should have that picture there. Okay, I have that picture there now. So I can do this with you. So here we are. Sam has this 3/4 pounds of granola. Each day he took 1/8 pound to school for a snack. If he had 1/4 pound left over, how many days did Sam take granola to school? And I will tell you, the first time I read this, I thought, I'm not sure what to do here. I read it twice, that's fine. And then I went to my next step. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to underline the information or the question they're asking me. How many days did Sam take granola to school? I'm going to go to the next step and circle the information they gave me. He started with 3/4 pounds of granola. Each day he took 1/8 to school. And then he had 1/4 pound left over by the end of however many days that was. Okay, still I was unclear at this point. I kind of had some idea of what I might do, but I felt like there was some things missing. So I went to the next step and drew the picture. This is how much he had granola. He had 3/4 pound to start with. And each day he's taking 1/8 out of there. I don't know how many days, so I just kind of put a question mark here, like how many days? I don't know. But a piece of information that was throwing me off was this 1/4 pound left over. And I kind of put off to the side. At the end, 1/4 pound was left. And once I drew the picture, I started thinking, it sure would be helpful to know if he started with this amount and he ended up with this amount, how much was taken out? And I thought, oh, well, I could easily find that out. Let me take the original amount and subtract from it what was left. Then I know how much was taken. So my first calculation was to take 3/4 and subtract the 1/4 from it. And nice that my denominators are already the same. Thanks, book people. I appreciate that. So I don't even have to find a lowest common denominator. I just go ahead and do my subtraction. 3 minus 1 is 2. Denominator stays the 4. That's reducible. I'm going to go ahead with the reduction, I think. 2 divides into both of those. 1/2 is what you'll get. So he took 1/2 to school. So I'm going to redraw my picture. This is how many pounds he took to school in 1/8 increments. Okay, so now that I know exactly how much was taken to school, now I can split it into 1/8 pieces. So I'm going to take 1/2 and divide it by 1/8 because it's being split evenly into 1/8 pieces, right? My steps, change both to fractions. They are good. That step is done. Keep, change, flip, cross reduce if you can. Well, here obviously I can't, but here I can. 2 divides evenly into both of them, and once into that and 4 times into that. Multiply straight across. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1, and this monster was a kitty cat. 4 days he was able to take that amount of granola to school. Let's look at one more, sort of like training wheels on a bike. I'm holding the bike for you on this, and then hopefully you're ready to take off on your own after this one practiced together. So again, our steps are to read it, then we will underline what we're asked, we will circle what information we were given, we will draw it, and then by then hopefully we kind of have an idea of where we need to go with it. So let's go ahead and take a look. We have, for a science experiment, Mr. Barrows divides 2/3 cup of salt into small jars, each containing 1/12 cup. If he has 1/6 cup of salt left over, how many jars does he fill? And maybe we needed to read that twice. I don't know. Now I'm going to underline my question. How many jars does he fill? I'm going to circle information that they gave to me. He's dividing 2/3 cup of salt, that's what he started with, into small jars. And the small jars fit 1/12 cup. So I know I've got some division by 1/12. But he has some salt left over. Okay, good to know. Let me draw the picture. Let's see what we've got going on here. He's got salt. The amount of salt he has, this is a salt shaker. There's a total of 2/3 cup in here. It's a big salt shaker. And he is taking that salt and he's putting them into little jars that are 1/12 in size, 1/12 cup in size. Repeated subtraction going on here, so in my brain I'm knowing there's some division going to be happening here. The thing that's throwing me off is that there was some salt left over, 1/6 of a cup. So not all of the salt was used. So of the jar that he was using, of the salt shaker he was using, I'll draw it, 1/6 cup is left. So, okay, well I really need to know how much was used, how much of the salt was used. So I guess what I'll do is I'll start with how much he started with and how much was left, because then that's going to tell me how much was used. So we started with 2/3 cups, and he has left 1/6. So let's take the 1/6 he has left out of there so we can find out how much was used. I need a common denominator. I can't subtract without having a common denominator, but that's no problem. This 3 can become a 6. Multiply by 2. Keep it equivalent by doing the numerator times that as well. So that's times 2 and that's times 2. That's going to give me 4/6 minus 1/6. Okay. Now I can subtract that my common denominator is there. So 4 minus 1 is 3. And 6 is my denominator. That's reducible. So I'm going to reduce that because 3 divides evenly into both 3 and 6. So 3 divides into 3 once and 3 divides into 6 twice. So really I have 1/2. 1/2 cup is what was used. So he started with 2/3 cup. There was 1/6 left, so I subtracted them to find out 1/2 cup was what was used into those little tiny jars. So what was used now, and if I need the picture, I can draw the picture again. I know now that 1/2 cup was used and split out into little tiny jars. Split out evenly is division, so I'm doing 1/2 divided by 1/12 because it's split into 1/12 size containers. Then I just use my steps for dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip, cross reduce. Nothing goes into 1 evenly other than 1, so that's not going to reduce. 2 and 12, though, 2 divides evenly into both of them. Once here, and 6 times there. Multiply straight across. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. That's the same as 6. 6 jars. It came at us looking very monsterish, but when you take the time to do the steps, read it, underline, circle, and most importantly to me, drawing that picture, it starts letting my brain digest what's going on and then figuring out, okay, how do I get there? What do I need to do to find out? Take those steps, try them in this lesson, see how it goes. With practice, this becomes easier and easier and easier all the time.